we'll get started. I appreciate the ones that came out today. We have some things to go over, some news. The front parking space, well, I'll start with that. Front road is close to the clubhouse. It's supposed to be no parking trucks, SUVs, and vans. And you see it's painted on the pavement. You're gonna see changes there, May, probably in the next month. When Israeli paving comes here, that whole road's gonna be probably golf carts only, except for handicap. So, because it's not me I'm being the messenger, as I told somebody. I'm not being the one that did it, but residents have been calling me, wanting to say they are seeing SUVs and stuff parked on the front row. So of course I gotta come up here. As everybody's aware that the meeting I want to say it was May, we told everyone that we was gonna be, giving warnings. And I've even gave warnings, but we're starting giving violations too since the 1st of June. So to clear that up and make sure everybody knows about that. Last week I spoke about the computer system. We are updating the computers. All of them but two use Windows 7. So we're not going to update those two, use Windows 10. The goal is to have a computer down in the lobby, and one we're going to scrub that's basically going to have nothing on it but except internet access, and probably have the vendor book in there, so easily you can say, look up something, and then turn around and look at see what the reviews are of those people. Let's see. Has anybody got any question about the computers and the parking out front out here? I'll go ahead and entertain those questions. If you got any questions about that. I see nobody's got any questions. I think you got Liz right. What was going to talk about? Well, I figured we was going to talk about it. I figured we were going to tell you.
Okay, roads, we're gonna start the roads August 2nd, and I believe it's up like with Thorpe and Divine and all of those are. So anybody who lives up there, you'll be getting door tags pretty soon to let you know when it's going to be happening. And if anybody has any, if you don't have a curb, if the grass goes down, you've got to make sure that that's all trimmed for them to do that. So they'll be starting that on August 2nd. The roof, we are still waiting for supplies. The roofer had warned us of that because of COVID and everything. Everybody's going in COVID now, but they can't get the supplies. So we're still waiting on those, but we will let you know as soon as we get a date for that. The computers, we've already started talking about them. We're looking at new computers. There's a couple of office personnel that don't need the computers because they got new ones last year. There's two, I believe it's Captain Schubert and Kara Webster, our GM. Other than that, we will be getting new computers. Let me see. The gate. We're still looking into Gate Century and a couple of others to see if we can come down the cost a little bit, the monthly cost. But we are starting the visitor passes again. I don't know if any of you had any visitors that would come before last year. We had to stop them because of the COVID. The people, they don't want to touch them and stuff. So we are going to start putting those out again, and then we can keep better track of people coming in and out because they've got to give us the tag. And also on the tag, on the back of the pass, we're going to put a couple of kindly reminders to please do the speed limit, don't park in the grass, and there was another one. Those are the things that us homeowners get in trouble for, and we get fined because of them. So any of those things we're putting on that, and when when the guard passes them out, he's going to turn the sign upside down so you see, and then remind you to please read the back of it to make sure that you know that whoever you're going to visit is going to suffer the consequences. And that, of course, let's just remember that vendors we don't get fined, homeowners don't get fined for anything that the vendors do. And, what else? Speeding.
We do have an advisory committee looking at the speeding issue in here to see what they can come up with. They have started a process of looking at various ways. The idea was like, one of the ideas is thrown out there, we threw a lot of ideas. So, as you know, we, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had the Gate Century came in and did their presentation and everything. And, there was a rumor going around here that we may have started or already indicated. I do not do that. That's why there's like, if people question any kind of my integrity or my cognitive issues, is because that shows right there. I'll get people to come in and give ideas on things. That's the way I've always done in business, to where I ask the experts, and they come in and say they recommend whatever big gate center or whoever it might be. They recommend those things. I don't implement something without feedback. So I asked the residents if they wanted to participate. That's to include them. That's why some of those recommendations were by residents of how the gates work in other communities and that kind of thing. And we look at everything. My computer, or my phone, I'm sorry, is always, in my office, always open to any suggestion. People can call. There's no, you'll find out there's no, per se, a click with me. Anybody can come in. I'm open to anything that has to do with that. Because I had a guy a few years ago when I was in the grocery business, he come up and his little teenager come to me and said, this is before he Walmart, he said, I unload trucks here, why don't we use plastic pallets? And that was before it was even the thing they did at Walmart or whatever. And I said, we can look at that. So I did a study on it, found out the guy had made, we figured out how much it saved, so we went with the idea, and we gave that guy college education scholarship free, because he came up with the idea. He was a little 18-year-old guy. So I do believe in that stuff, that we get ideas, because there'll be some things I may not think about. And there'll be some things that like a group may not think about, may not come up with an idea and somebody else see it. So that's why. All these meetings will be, town hall meetings will be basically every week. They will be televised on YouTube. I'm not sitting in front of the computer, so I don't know what people's asked, but that's the goal of that. Tomorrow is, Finance Committee meets the first time, and that will not be televised, but residents will be able to sit and watch it here, but they can't ask no questions on that. Tomorrow, as you noticed, is going to be Employee Appreciation Day, which is going to be, I'm going to cook. I think Vince is going to cook also, and that is not paid for with Brookridge money. I'll say that right off. I'm the one that bought the hamburgers, hot dogs out of my own pocket. And I met with Vince today, and I bought the rest of the stuff, which is chips, the tomatoes, lettuce, and all that stuff, just so, because they did not able to get nothing for the July 4th thing. So we thought that'd be a good idea for them lunch. So that come out of my pocket, so you don't have to worry about spending Brookridge money, because I never thought about that. So that's where that came from. Let's see, as far as I know, the tree's still going to be, Israeli is going to pave that where the tree's taken out over there. I can't think of anything else, but if anybody's got any question, they're welcome to ask it about anything. We'll probably be able to give the answer. Okay. as you know, when we was elected, that my goal when I run was to change culture here. We have some people, residents, that do not want to change culture. That is why you see like they think we're maybe incompetent or whatever. That's why the phone call started. But it's been going on all along. Phone calls with people parked in the front row. That was not us. It was mainly residents would come up and down the street and they saw SUVs or trucks parked out there. Even I got called on a Sunday to come up here and look, and there was a truck parked in handicap, and that does not affect the handicap spaces. So that's where it came from. They continue to do it daily. I don't know who it is. They call them anonymously, but we've had code enforcement on this from the beginning of June because that's what we said we was going to do. The goal is to do what we say we're going to do, and not do something and not let y'all know what's going on. That's why I will tell you, some of these committees have snowbirds on them, which is fine with me. Some of these committees we come up with. At the next meeting, we're going to announce the Rules and Regulations Committee. Advisory Committee's already started, and we got some people that's going to be put on the AVCR committee to help with that, because sometimes they go on vacation and stuff like that. And let's see, I can't think of anything else right now that's going on here, but that's mainly what's new. The computers, we go back to the computers. Computers are going to be installed by the people that do the IT people. We've already said they know what programs are there. They know the permissions and license. So that's who's going to do it. We actually got a backup just in case we need him, and that's a guy that he's not one of those guys, but he's a Microsoft engineer. As a call in if something happens. He used to work for the FBI, so he's a Microsoft engineer. So if anybody's got any question about anything, I think I've answered what's going on here. Yes, so somebody, see, we got a microphone we can give this guy. Give him. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I just moved here during COVID, so I don't know anything about what went on as far as entry. All I know is that since I've been here, you just have to give an address and a name, and you enter somebody that you want to come in. I don't know what you did previously. Is that what's going to happen in the future, or what?
Well, they're still asking for the name and address, but we're just adding steps to it to make them accountable out there and make Greg Super accountable as well when you go that way, if they're trained right or whatever. Plus, it's almost like that the guard on the outside, which means going outward, will have something more to do than what's doing. And you'll notice that sign still up that says we check IDs. When we've not taken that down, because probably with whatever program we get, whether it be any kind of gate system, they'll start asking for just not only IDs of the driver, but maybe some of the passengers, because sometimes they recognize Uber and say a taxi, but don't know where the passenger's going, don't know who it is. Be a little bit more safety conscious, that's right, and that's the same way with everything is about safety for the masses, and that's why the first row is going to be mainly golf carts and stuff, because it's not just for the walkers, but the people that back out, they can't see through the tinted windows, because most time, SUV in the back, the windows are so tinted, so dark, the driver next car can't see through them. See who's going coming down Hampton, that kind of stuff.
Yes,
All right.
I see your concern, sir. I would say that Brookridge is 95% safe coming in and out. you can't have 100%, but by us changing the gate system, I would say that we will be like 99.5% safe. This is an older community, 55 and over, even though none of us are old, but we are year-wise older. And when we had COVID last year, we couldn't pass out the visitor passes. And we realized that that is something that's really important. And we wanted to be able to have a better system. So like when the police need to see if somebody is coming here, if they have a warrant or something and it's a visitor, we don't know who the visitors are. We take their name and stuff, but we don't know that much. The police will have, I guess we call them the sheriff here, they will have a better access to our system. And when you're looking for someone, and it doesn't happen very often, but even if it's 10% of the time, we want to bring that ratio down even more.
I still don't quite get what the process is to get in. If you're gonna change it back to what it was,
It's not going to change it back to what the only thing that's going to be different between this year and last year is that the visitors are going to be given the passes, and they're supposed to bring the passes back in when they leave. But also we want to be able to, with the new gate system, 80% of the people have smartphones, and everybody will have an app, and you can put on the smartphone if there is somebody you do not want to come in, because right now, and it would be on the computer, so if somebody says your address, immediately it will come up and know if you are an accepted guest or not. Because you do get people that, that don't want somebody in, and they have to give the name to the guard check, but there are 3 shifts, and there are 2 separate, because the 3 shifts go 5 days on and 5 days off. Somebody might not see the sign. So we want to make it even more. But I would say it's 95% safe in here. We just want to bring it up even more.
I'm just thinking of, is this slow down the traffic coming in?
Actually, once we have a new gate system, it's going to speed it up. It's actually going to speed it up.
Where I used to live, and I don't wanna,
Mm-hmm.
used to be, forget about that.
Yeah.
But you had to call the guard and give the name of whoever's coming in. And all they had to do was tell the guard who they were, and they got access.
I don't know how many people lived where you lived before. We have 5,500 people that live here peak season. So that's,
Yeah,
so that's one, that would be such an overload, because we have, let me see, in an average year, you have over 750,000 visitors that come in 1 year. And that would be a long.
so what you're saying is, they're gonna come to the gate, the guard, and tell them whatever, and they give them a pass?
Right now, yes.
And what do they do with that? Put it in the window, or?
They have to put it on their dashboard.
Yeah.
They have to put it on their dashboard. And if you're going to be here for a week, if you're a visitor for a week, if you have guests come for a week or 2 weeks, you get a different colored pass. So you don't have to give it to them every time. It's a different colored pass.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Does
Thank
that
you.
help?
it helps, yeah.
Hi, I had a personal experience that just happened 2 weeks ago. Someone was driving around my house and I said, "How did you get in?" He said, "Well, I went to Zillow. I got a couple of houses that were for sale, used that address, went to the guard check, gave him any address for a house that was for sale, they let me in." That's terrible. I said, "What?" He said, That was a horrible experience.
That is one thing that.
So I had a stranger come to my house and say, "You're selling your house?"
Yeah, and those are one of the reasons why they don't need a name. Exactly. And with the new system, whichever system we go with, they have to have the name, and they will have it on there if it's somebody that you wanted to come in. And with the new system, whichever system we get, when a person is coming in to see you, to visit, you will get a ping on your smartphone, making you aware that somebody is coming in. Yeah, that is one of the few things that we really worry about.
Why?
Just a second, let me answer that, please. The people use the address, they can get it off from, let's say a vendor came to the house next door one time and got your address, they want to see you. So they can say, okay, I'm going to whatever the address is, but they went next door. And then they see that. Plus also, you gotta remember, we have a phone directory that anybody can pick up, and they can give that, they can go and be working in somebody's house, see that, they can grab that book. So one thing we have to do is make sure we got some kind of record of the driver's license, one thing, because you got a picture of it, and I don't think the way it is now up there, those tablets do not, I think they do not take pictures. So we've got to think about that. You take a picture of whoever comes in, you've got that, and plus you can check to make sure that person's who they say they are the first time around. Like say, my name would be on there, my picture would be on there, so you can check that when they key it in and say, well, I want that person here, and then they would know it's not me. It's just, they can't give a fake name because you got record of it.
You actually answered my question, because I was gonna say, why can't they ask the person's name, but you actually answered that.
My other question was, if they're coming in to look at a place that's for sale, should they not come in with a real estate person?
That's correct. I think you're supposed to come in with a real estate person. I've actually seen where that's being enforced, because I've actually seen a real estate person pull off in the driveway right there to them. As soon as they come to the gate, they stop there at the administrative building waiting on the person to come through. That's correct. Yeah. So if we have any other questions here, yes, we got questions up here.
Larry Miller. I'll go back to speeding. Can't not have a meeting without speeding. So with this, I can't get an answer, is how many times a day is our crew, whatever you want to place the name on, going on the outside perimeter of Brookridge and going all the way around to do something? How many times a day do they do that? How many man hours, how many miles are being used for that purpose?
Great question, Larry, because that's something everybody brings up. They go, every shift has to do the perimeter, and that is to make sure that our fencing is still okay. And if they see, because kids sneak in and stuff, they make holes, they have to make sure that they keep a sharp eye on that. So you're talking the perimeter of the property itself. They have to go out, and it's, twice a day. Second shift, the evening shift, and the all-night shift. They go out.
So we talked about our fence, which really Grove Road belongs to the county, does not belong to us. So as citizens, we could report a hole in the fence, but we couldn't do much about it. Wouldn't it be better spent going around the perimeter inside looking at our fence? It could be damaged and we can fix it.
The perimeter of our fence is ours, because I know that we've had to that Brookridge does replace the fences, because when I was on the board before, we had to do it quite a few times. So those are our fences.
I'd be glad to take you for a ride. If you go back here to our RV park, go to the corner, which butts up to the septic place. All that fence is not ours for the next mile or two. And that's what they're going around. They're going way up to the top, which is a quarter of a mile from our fence. They're coming back down Sunshine Grove, which is a quarter of a mile from our fence. A lot of it they can't see. Why not get in here and take care of the problem?
Has somebody followed them?
Have they what? Repeat it?
Has somebody followed them? Because this is something I'd like to, has somebody followed them to see?
You said they go on the outside perimeter. The only outside perimeter is Grove Road. I think it's Austin Healy across the top and Sunshine Grove down the other side. There's no other road for them to go on.
They do, I do know that they go, at Springbrook? Yeah, Springbrook. And they are looking at those all the time also.
Even as close as we get to on this, I don't know, Fish Road, I guess it is, right there by Register. You drive down that road, all you can see is brush. You can't see our fence. It's totally enclosed.
You know what, Larry? I will find out exactly what they can see. But I do know that they repair the fence when they see it.
And maybe you could come back and tell me how many times it's been repaired? Over what period of time, a year? Or?
Well, I was on the board 4 years ago. I know it was fixed a couple of times. So we can just, this is not, we want to just keep it a friendly discussion. You asked a question, and there's parts of that question that I cannot answer.
Also, to answer your question about how many times it's been fixed, it's her wasting Brookridge's money going down the road or over Sunshine Grove Road and doing it, and they can't see the fence, we will bet we will solve that problem, because that's wasting our money. I will look at that. Believe me, I'll ask about that. Also, he brought up RV compound a while ago. We have a meeting next week with them, and we got RV compound committee, as you know. We'll put them back in place. I am meeting with them next week. We are gonna look at all the tags in there and probably try to reline the spaces where you actually got RVs that can actually get out. So that's what we're gonna do there. Let's see, I even told, the finance treasurer that to look at that was one of the keys, was how many times what we can do to solve the problem of code enforcement going up and down the streets like 4 or 5 times in front of somebody's house. I know they're looking to see if the violations or the project's been done or whatever, but there has to be some way to eliminate that, because I'd like to see the fuel costs cut down, and I'd like to see non-waste. And I will say, if one of the vehicles go out on 50, I do know about it, and I'm asked a question why they're out there. When they get back in, did they go, are they checking the perimeter, or did they go to like grab lunch somewhere? I am looking at that. I have reprimanded somebody for that, so it is looking at. And I will tell you, I hold people accountable for anything they do. I've actually gotten my employees at one time have run that stop sign at Country Club and Brookridge. I have got on them and called them to the office and told them that you got to be better than that. You got to stop that, or anything's going to get rode up or disciplined in the other way. That's happened one time. I've caught an employee parking in a handicap spot up here. So it does not go by me. I do see that, and it's not fair to y'all as residents that employees get away with stuff that they shouldn't have or anything like that. So, I don't, like I said, I don't play favorites when it comes to this. It's like, I've got people that call me that run against me in the, when the election was. I'll talk to them, because their ideas may be good, I'm gonna use them or whatever, anyway, and I'll be willing to answer the questions just like anybody else's, so, that's where that stands, so if anybody's got any more questions, I'm glad to answer that, or we'll try to anyway. And any question you have that we don't have the answer to, we'll get it at either the board meeting on next Wednesday, or we'll do it next Thursday at town hall meeting. Does anybody else have any question they'd like to ask about anything? Yes, this lady right here.
My question is on the gate system. How will we know when that's implemented? And is it the board that will make the final decision, or is it something that all the residents will vote on?
The board will make the final decision on that, but it will not be implicated or even started without input from the residents, and the residents know ahead of time that it's gonna say we're gonna start this on, say, September 1st, and we'll tell you in August ahead of time. And just to tell you some ideas that are out there is that we're looking at things advanced design, and that is the same gate system that they have over at Glen Lakes, and that was presented by, I want to say, Linda Walls. And the other system was, down in Tampa, we're looking at, I've actually called them, and then we're looking at, still looking at Gate Century. I don't like Gate Century myself because I know it's an $800 fee every month, and that's as long as you own this thing, as long as they do it. I don't like that because that can be $100,000 over a 10-year period. That's money wasted to me. I'd rather have, we have the option to store the data on a server instead of a cloud. So that's, I'm looking at options like that for us, because you want to look at that. And I was going to give that to the advisory committee, but they don't have enough time. They're thinking probably at least they need 2 or 3 months, and this thing needs to be, we need to do something, update the computer to start with, because we don't have, Windows 7 is not supported no more. So let's update the computers that need to be updated. I think Vince has 2 that don't work right now here in this building. So, update them, then worry about the gate system out here at the gate. So that's the goal of that. I hope that helps answer that. Anybody else got any questions about anything? Do my best to answer it, or Gail will write it down or something like this. I see nobody else had it. Okay, I see, yeah.
Yeah, my name is Ken Allen. I have a question. If a vendor comes in here and it's not a good vendor for Brookridge, how do you blackball them, or you put it down in the book, or?
I'll let Gail answer that for us now. Let's handle it.
When you say it's not a good vendor for Brookridge, can you be more specific than that?
Well, say that electrical contractor comes in here and they really do a bad job, or they don't have a license, or some incident that is
We
not.
can't, okay. We had an incident a few years ago with, I think it was a plumber, I'm not sure, it was a plumber. And we can't stop them from coming in because we can't stop people from hiring them. That's why we have the vendor book. Well, we have the vendor book in the front office. I don't know if everybody knows this. At the front office, at the administration office, there's a vendor book. The vendor book is put on and taken care of by the residents, not by Brookridge. And in that vendor book, it will say, you know, you have a form, and you can put down if it was a good vendor or a bad vendor and why. Now, the only time that we can stop a vendor from coming in if there's been a criminal complaint against them. And that vendor there was a criminal complaint against him, and that's why we were able to stopping that vendor from coming in. But just because they're a bad vendor, we aren't allowed to say, oh, no, you shouldn't have that person because he's bad. We're a corporation, we cannot do that.
Well, I think that's wrong. I think you may be wrong on that too. Let me point an incident. If you get a fine and $10 fine, $25 fine, you don't pay that, you can't get through that gate because they'll pull your thing. They'll pull your
Right,
privilege.
you have to, you get through the gate, but you have to go to the visitor's gate.
Right. So if you go through the visitor's gate, coming in or going, doesn't that little pad that they take the information, is there some way that flashes that this person isn't allowed in for some reason?
Are you talking about the visitor,
Yeah. Or
a resident?
a resident. If a resident can be flagged, why can't a visitor be flagged?
No, the only reason why the resident isn't flagged, the resident loses their barcode. And that's part of the violation process. You have to go in. We can't stop somebody from coming in or leaving. We have private roads, but we have to allow, so if somebody has a vendor that people don't like, unless they've done something criminally, we have to let them in, because that is the resident's choice. And it's hard sometimes, but we were able to do, I only know of one, I don't know if there are others. I was on the board at the time, so I don't know if there are others, but we did have one, and they were, and we actually had something at the guard shack, so they cannot come in. But that was after a complaint to the state or county was.
It was from the county.
From the county, yeah.
All right, but a resident can't make that complaint?
Yes,
That's,
a resident did make the complaint. It can't be Brookridge, it has to be the resident.
Okay, so if I made a complaint, then this could take effect as long as you could show proof that,
To the county, when the county says that your complaint is valid, if the county says that, they will send us the decision, and then we can stop them from coming in.
so basically you could, take them to court? If it's a county,
Right, it would be a complaint, yeah.
okay.
Because as a homeowners association, we can't stop anybody from coming in unless it's been specific as to what it is.
I'm talking about specifics here, but,
I'll give you an example that can, if I had somebody doing work on my house that was a contract, maybe I trust a guy to do good work, and he comes to the gate to see me. If you was to stop him at the gate and say, no, you can't come in because it's bad, well, I don't know that in my head that it's bad. So I'll put all the money, I gave him guy money up front some money up front to buy materials or buy the permit or whatever. And then we find out later that he's here to do the work, and then we've got an appointment with him to start on X number of days, and say somebody else says that he can't come in because it's a bad vendor, then who's gonna be mad? The homeowner's gonna be mad about that. It's gonna got him coming to their house to do work. So that's why it would have to be like, there'd have to be some way for me to say to that person that I can know ahead of time that guy's a bad vendor. Like every homeowner have to know before they hired him for anything. And that's where that comes from. You just can't say that he can't come in. That's arbitrarily say that he can't come to such and such house on Brookridge Boulevard when they've already hired him to do a job. Because they could get sued and all that because it's on a contract with the guy. That'd be where the drawback is.
well, let me do a hypothetical, situation here. I have slot machines in my house. I get an electrician to come in, he works in the house, he likes the slot machines. So he likes the slot machine, so the work's done, the contract with him is over with. At that point, he has no right to do anything with that house, he should be leaving.
That's right.
Right, but if he takes the slot machines with him, what do you do?
You call the police because it's those slot machines.
Well, what if the police come in and say that, well, he had a right to be there, that you invited him in your house to do an electrical job?
Or what he took off your property would be theft. That's where that would be. You need to call the sheriff.
So
Cause,
if you had proof that it could happen, you could stop that person from coming in here
yeah,
or put them in jail, one or the other.
that's correct. And mainly that's why the vendor books are there. If he's a bad contractor, you want to put him in that book as not somebody to do stuff with or post it somewhere. So, or we have like, a list we can either post out there, for people not to hire or anything like that. It'd be the only way we can do it, but it's their choice to hire them.
All right,
I'm
thank you.
sorry, I don't have the answer to that. We can just say we can arbitrarily do that because we can't. All right.
But Ken can go to the office and fill out a sheet where the vendor book is
That's
and,
correct.
and put that he feels this person is not
That's
reputable.
right. We can do that.
So he can go there and do it that way.
Do that to recommend nobody else hire them. That's right. All right, any other questions about anything? Do my best to answer. If you think of something later, keep that in mind, you can call me or something, and I'll try to get you answer to you. And I think that's probably about it. Anybody else got anything you want to say about anything? Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're done. I appreciate, it's a little shorter than I thought it was gonna be, but I appreciate everybody coming out to this thing, and, if they got any questions or wanna know anything, feel free to ask me. And thank you for showing up for this thing. This thing was originally started, so to keep y'all informed about things and make sure that nobody has, like, here's something secondhand that may not be true, when you're okay to ask me to get the clarification on it, so that's fine. All right, thank you.